So in the Zendesk YouTube channel, there is a community playlist there. You can find recordings of almost all of our past events there. So we encourage you to check those out. There are they cover a wide range of subjects there. You will receive an email that will contain a link to that recording when we post it. It'll also contain a summary of all the cute question and answers that we cover during this event and all of the links that we drop in the chat during the link. So watch for those as we go through the event. Also, if you like to ask a question during the event, we highly encourage that. We love to get your questions. Note that there, over in the chat window, you're probably on the general chat right now, but it says Q&A right up next to general there. We encourage you to click over to Q&A and ask your questions there. That makes it easier for us to keep track of which questions we've answered already, because we don't want to miss your questions. We may not be able to answer all of them during the live event. If we're not able to answer it during the live event, whether it's one that you submitted when you registered for the event or if you're asking during the event, we'll try to answer as many of those as we can in the post-event kind of summary that we send out as well. So I've talked a lot. Let's move on. Megan, what's new with Agent Workspace?
Awesome. Thank you, Dave. You handled that so smoothly. And I am so grateful that the agenda slide was able to be shown, because I did pick that GIF, and I hope everyone's getting in the fall spirit. So I'm glad we're back. Here we are. It's good to see everyone again. Thank you so much for having me here, community. I'm here to set the stage on what we'll be covering. Reminder that all the capabilities we will be reviewing today are specific to the Agent Workspace. So for those of you who are new to the Agent Workspace, it gives teams everything they need to deliver great service at scale without extensive onboarding. It is your all-in-one platform that empowers agents to manage all their conversations across any support channel in one location. It supercharges your agent productivity, helping them help your customers faster by giving them powerful tools right at their fingertips in one location. And it eliminates time spent looking for work and automatically routes conversations to the right support agent every time, which is what we're here to talk about today. It's also where all the latest and greatest are housed, so you do not want to miss out. If you aren't already using the Agent Workspace, you can learn more about upgrading here. I think we're including a link for you all. Next slide, please. So what is the latest and greatest with the Agent Workspace? Well, earlier this year, and for those of you who attended Relate and joined us for our deep dive, we did introduce these exciting new capabilities. And we're here again to remind you about them and get you excited because they are GAing this quarter. So these new features help teams manage their operations more effectively across all their support channels and are another compelling reason to move on to the Agent Workspace. So first and foremost is the ability for admins to create new custom statuses for agents and the ability for those agents to set that status in one location. The next is Omnichannel routing, which automatically routes conversations across support channels. And last, live agent activity reporting, which enables team leads to drill into how much time agents are spending in those different statuses, as well as which conversations agents are working on. I think worth noting before I pass it over to our amazing product team is that this launch will be addressing our voice of the customer #1 and #2 requests. So super exciting and things we've been hearing from you that will be available to you. So with that, I will pass it over to Barry and John from the product team who will walk you through these features within Zendesk.
That's great, Megan. Thanks very much. So I'll go first, and then I'll hand it over to John. So I'll cover omnichannel routing, as that's my sort of area from a product management perspective, and John's going to cover some of the monitoring and reporting capabilities. So let me just share my screen, if I may. Cool. Okay. So hopefully you can see my screen. What I'm going to walk down through is first to show you sort of the back-end configuration aspects of omnichannel routing. Then I'll just show you how it can be used to priority route messages as they come in. So obviously, as Megan said, omnichannel routing has just been launched. It's specific to Agent Workspace. Another criteria to get omnichannel routing is that if you have a chat subscription, you need to have messaging enabled and be using messaging rather than the sort of live chat stuff that we had previously. And if those criteria are met, what you should see in Admin Center under Objects and Rules is omnichannel routing here and a couple of different screens. So omnichannel routing is off by default. If I go in here, I can just switch it on or off very easily. If you switch it on, there's just one sort of tag that needs to be set up, and that's the auto routing tag, which is used for support email tickets. And by email tickets, I mean tickets created from an email, from web form, from an API. Any of those types of tickets require this particular tag, which you can obviously configure for to be whatever you want it to be. Once it has that tag, and once it's assigned to a group, omnichannel routing engine steps in and will assign it to an agent in that group. Other capabilities here are things like you can turn on message reassignment. So if it tries to assign a message to an agent, then that agent doesn't accept the message within a certain time threshold, it'll assign it to another agent. I'll have that off just for the purposes of this demo. As well as that, under omnichannel routing, we've got capacity rules and agent statuses. So agent capacity rules are there to enable you to easily define what's the maximum capacity for any individual agent or group of agents. So we do this using capacity rules. So you can have as many capacity rules as you want. Here I have a new agent capacity rule. There are 29 agents assigned to that capacity rule. And the capacities of those agents are, the maximum capacities are, any of those agents can take 2 open email tickets or be assigned 2 open email tickets at any one time. They can be assigned 1 active messenger at any one time, and they can be assigned a call. If I want specific agents to have a different max capacity, I just simply create a new capacity rule and assign agents to that capacity rule. An agent can only be a member of 1 capacity rule at any one time. So it's very easy then to set up different capacity rules based on the different types of work the agents are doing, the agent's tenure or whatever. So for the purposes of this demo, it's maximum 2 email tickets and 1 message. Agent statuses. So status of the agent is another criteria that we use, or the omnichannel routing engine uses. So is the agent online, away, offline, etc. You can also have the capability of creating a custom status. And if I create a custom status such as at lunch, then I can just define from a routing perspective, what does that mean? So for email tickets, it could mean that if they're at lunch, they can still be read at email tickets, they're online for email tickets, but maybe they're away for messages and calls, so they can't be assigned messages and calls. And again, you can set these multiple custom agent statuses up. They can be used for reporting as well as routing. So later on this quarter, we're going to have some reporting capabilities around that. I think John's going to touch on the live reporting, and we're going to have some historical reports that will enable you to look at agent statuses. So I've switched it on. I'm ready to go. I've got my agent's capacity rules set up. I've got my agent statuses set up. So I'm going to just go in now and show you. I've got 2 different agents logged in. Another thing that when you switch on omnichannel routing, you get this new unified agent status picker here, where those default statuses are here, plus any custom statuses that you've created. So I'm going to switch. I got myself logged in. I'm going to be online. I've got another agent over here in this other tab, John Tan, and I'm going to set them as online. They're both members of the same group. And I've set up a trigger in the background that as a message comes in, it'll be sent to the group that Barry and John are members of. So let me flick over here, and the demo I'm using is a on-cloud wine demo. Wine, obviously, is a subject close to my heart. So I'm just going to show a web widget here. This is built using our Flow Builder, but obviously if you have a third-party chat bot, you can use that as well. So in the Flow Builder, I've just set it up so it's going to ask, it's going to ask the name. It's going to ask then the email address, say test.com, whatever. And then as that is sent in, what the writing engine then does is it checks a couple of things. First of all, who in this group is online? Well, only John, Tan, and Barry are online. Which of these agents has the highest spare capacity? Well, they had a max spare capacity of 1 message each, 1 active message each. Neither agent has any assigned messages, so they have a spare capacity of 1. So as a tiebreaker, it asks who hasn't been assigned a ticket in the longest time, and for that, then it will ask. What's this mic? Sorry, there's been a mess up. Group. Sorry, excuse me. It looks like this. I just need to do that again. There we go. So, which agent hasn't been assigned a ticket in message in the longest time? And in this case, it is Barry that hasn't been assigned a message in the longest time. So Barry accepts that, and then can start communicating with the end user. You know, in this here, we have a couple of side apps, but I won't go into that since our focus is on omni-channel routing. And then the conversation can begin with the agent. So another message comes in. Right to that, it's asking me for an email address. Let's put a random email address in there. Same thing happens again. It's looking for agents online, spare capacity. Barry hasn't got spare capacity. He's just been assigned something. So it actually goes to my other agent, John, and John accepts that. No problem. All good. If yet another message comes in, then the problem is, the issue is that the agents are now at their maximum capacity, and so it will start to queue up those messages. So you can see here these messages have been assigned already. This is now queued up. It has a normal priority. So it will stay in that state, and it will constantly be looking for, has a new agent come online, but I can give that agent the new message, or has one of the existing agents sold out their messages. So at present, neither of those two exist. So we have, it'll start to queue up. And indeed, if we have another message come in, it will also be queued up. But this time, rather than using one of the standard, just random email addresses, I'm going to use an email address of a VIP customer. And this is important because unlike chats previously, this omnichannel routing engine can priority route. So I have a trigger in the background that recognizes that this email address is on the account of a VIP, and that trigger fired and set the priority of this particular message as urgent. So if I, as John Tan, go in here and I solve out the message that the active message I'm currently working on, then it'll automatically push me the next message in the queue, but it will push me the highest priority message first. And if there are multiple messages that were urgent priority, it will pick the oldest one first. But the key thing is that instead of just taking a first in, first out approach to queuing, you can now prioritize particular segments that you may have over other segments, and ensure that VIP customers, for example, in this case, get to be assigned out first. As you can see, it's the urgent one that got assigned to John Tan. So that's in a very quick nutshell how it works from a messaging perspective. The support ticket or email tickets work exactly the same. As email tickets come in, you assign them to a group via trigger usually, and in that trigger, as long as it has that auto routing tag that I mentioned, the omnichannel routing engine will look for an agent that has spare capacity, that is online in the group, has spare capacity, and will assign the email ticket. One more quick thing before I hand over to John, that I just wanted to cover is another capability that is currently available, and that is machine learning intention. So rather than having sort of triggers with very rigid rules around trying to figure out, is this a billing issue? Is it a returns issue? Is it a delivery issue? We have a machine learning tool which will look at the content of an email ticket, and it will set this intent field accordingly and give you an intent confidence. So there's a lot of different categories, and within each category is subcategories. There's a lot of capabilities and a lot of granularity as to which intent it believes the customer has. So where is my delivery? Still waiting on my order. So whatever text I put in, the machine learning model is going to run. It's going to look at that text, and it's going to try and figure out, based on that information, what is the intention that it feels the customer has. In this case, it set the intention as order delivery is late, and it's got a medium level of confidence. It's also added tags accordingly. So the idea here is that you will be able to set up a trigger that looks for particular tags, and if it sees a tag order delivery is late, then it could assign it automatically to the deliveries group. And you can obviously maybe use that if the confidence is high or medium, but if it's low, then it goes to a manual triage. Anyway, the idea here is that the ability to skip the manual triage step and have this machine learning model automatically route to the right group. And because the trigger fires it to the right group, that same trigger can add this auto routing tag, which means not only does it go to the right group, but it's automatically routed then to an agent within that group, just as those messages were. Okay, I've taken up too much time. I'll stop there, and I will hand over to John.
So hi everyone, John Costello here. I'm a product manager in our reporting and analytics area. And today I want to just take you through a little bit of what our live dashboard looks like. So this is our live dashboard that comes pre-canned out of the box for all customers. So sorry, when I say all customers, I mean any customer that is on an enterprise and professional plan. And you will be able to see across all your products. So whether you have messaging, talk, and support, as I have here in terms of all the suite, or you have just a subset, which is either messaging and support, or talk and support, or even support on its own, the pre-canned dashboard will be tailored for your suite, your package. And so you'll be able to see that. So here on our live dashboard, we're looking at how things are going. So it's a quite enough day, and I can see that I've got 2 agents online and 2 away, and things have been quite enough all day. Got a conversation in the queue, but there's 2 active conversations. And if I drill in here and have a look and see what's going on, I can see that Barry and Tan are currently on conversations. This is the conversations that Barry would have shown you already. And previous to this, you would have had to look through views, as Barry has shown you. But here you can all see all this information surfaced on our live dashboard. So we can also see that capacity has been fully used. And we can see that Barry and John Tan have a max capacity here of 1. And so this is just showing us that they're fully maxed out, and that helps me now understand why there's a conversation in the queue. So what I'm going to do next is something that some people say is a bit mad, but I'm going to try and get some crowd participation. So if everyone, all 121 people on the call, if you could all go to this website, it's www.cloudwine.shop, or if you could go to this QR code on your phone and quickly bring it up. When you go to that website, you're going to be brought to a, you'll see a little message icon down the bottom right-hand corner that Barry was showing us earlier. And you're just going to need to put your name in and then just a fake email. It doesn't matter. And just submit it for me. And let's try and see, can you guys blow up my queue like there's going to be a Black Friday sale, or it's an Amazon sale, or it's a Prime sale. So if you guys could start pushing that in. If not, it doesn't matter. We can figure it out. Oh yeah, that's great. Thank you everyone for participating. All 8 of you that submitted, thank you. And anyone else wants to chime in, we can see this number grow in real time. So now I'm kind of, as a supervisor, I'm kind of starting to panic. Okay, now we've gone to 26. Things are getting a lot hot. So now I'm going to go look and see, right, I've got 2 agents away. Maybe I can bring these guys into bear and see. And I see I've got Megan and Colton are away. And I know they're both of them are in the kitchen chatting. So I'm going to say, Megan, Colton, can you guys come on back online here? I need some help. So hopefully we'll get those guys back online, and we did. We've got 1 back online, and hopefully we'll see the other coming in. And if we jump in here, we should be able to see that they are online, and they both had a max of 10 conversations, but they're maxed out straight away because our routing engine has kicked in and has taken those messages and has assigned them out to both Megan and to Colton. And so they're very busily chatting back to all those people and having a great time. But as we come back in, we can see it's still a busy queue. I need to go and find more agents in other channels and be able to try and bring some online. So I can see I've got a few in here that are offline. I can see who they are, what those agents are, and I can see, right, okay, I need to bring Pablo, Walter, and Eugene. I'm going to try and bring them in because things are blowing up really hot, and I've got 52 conversations. So that was just a small demonstration. Thank you so much for everyone online for helping to crowdsource and giving an example of where this how can be used. It really gives you that real-time view on how supervisors can dive in, really have a look on what their agents are working on, what their workload is, and what's happening. There are a couple of limitations that we're working through right now. One of them is that if you have more than 500 agents online, we have a limitation in place. It's a product limitation. This will be removed later in the year. But right now, if you have by 500, you just need to filter your agents down by the team. And you can see here that you can have your teams here, and that will just filter the list down a little smaller, and you'll be able to work with them. And we're really excited. We have lots of new things coming out. So next year, we're going to have, as Barry said, we're going to have the unified states. So you saw those as custom states that Barry was showing how you can create them. So we're going to be releasing a new data set where you'll be able to see your custom states on this live dashboard as well, alongside your core states. And so if agents have put themselves into that on lunch or busy or in a wrap up or whatever you decided for your organization is your custom state, these will all as well be surfaced here on this live dashboard and allow you to drill in as well. The other things, of course, if you're on the enterprise SKU, what you can do with this dashboard is you're able to modify it. So you can customize it. You can go into our new builder. You can make changes to this. You can remove and add. You can add in some historical metrics. You can even take these live metrics and put them on your existing Explorer dashboards and be able to have them available and use them as you want. So that's an overview. I hope you'll be able to have a good view of it. And I'm happy to now, we're going to dive in with Dave sharing slides, and we're going to talk to some of the questions and maybe some of the other use cases.
Yeah, Brett, if you can share the slides. And just a reminder, if you have a couple things, if you have questions, please do click over to that Q&A tab and ask them there rather than asking them in the general chat. Also, for swag, we will include a link to redeem your swag in the event summary email. So be looking for that there. You don't need to tell us what your sizes are now. You'll be able to pick those. You'll be able to pick that when you click that link that we send you in the event summary email. All right, use cases. Let's go.
Yeah, so this one, the first two are kind of mine. I've just picked two, probably of the important ones. One of the key reasons for omnichannel routing is to try and avoid cherry picking and just generally to try and increase the agent productivity. So obviously agents going to views and picking their own tickets, or even with play mode, still agents can decide to accept or not accept or assign or not assign a ticket to themselves. So this is open to cherry picking. It also, agents having to spend time going through views generally is a bit of a time waster. So the idea behind this is that you will no longer have to spend time, as an agent, to go looking for work. You'll no longer have either need to or have the ability to decide which work you want is most important. By setting up these prioritized rules, you can ensure that agents are always working on the most important thing and are maximizing their time solving end user problems. So obviously better adherence, better time to first response, improved CSAT, more productive agents, essentially. Next slide, please. And the other thing is just linked to that is the omni-channel nature of this. I mean, the ideal is that you would have an agent sitting there, and no matter what the channel, whether it's voice, whether it's a message coming through, or whether it's an email ticket, engine is always pushing them what is the most important thing to work on next, based on whatever rules you have. VIP versus non-VIP, the nature of the issue is a fraud issue rather than a subscription issue. Whatever you decide is the priority. It doesn't matter what channel it comes through. The agent is always focused on the next right thing to do. It also means that volume spikes in one particular channel versus another can be handled a lot easier than having to move agents from who are working on voice calls, move them over to working on messages. The omnichannel nature of this tool will enable them to span across all channels. So enable you to give better segmented priority, better adherence to SLAs, increase quality of the whole agent interaction. We will be adding things like skills and be adding a lot more features and functionality to this routing to improve even more the quality of service and the service levels themselves throughout 2023.
Cool. So you saw there in the demo that we just did around how you can drill in, and there's a couple of levels of drill in that you can go in. And this allows really the supervisor to get a real understanding of the balance of availability of agents across the organization, but also what are the workloads. So really being able to allow supervisors to quickly get a real-time feel for what agents are online, what agents are maybe in a away state, what capacity has an agent got, and how many work items are they currently working on. And this really allows supervisors to be able to adapt in real time to bring agents to bear on channels that maybe are getting overloaded, be able to understand if agents are potentially struggling and maybe are overwhelmed with work, and be able to dive in and be able to help maybe wrap up a call or help wrap up a chat, or reach out to an agent and help bring them forward through their working day. And so this use case really is our first step into helping the supervisor. We have lots more planned to be able to surface things like Barry mentioned there. We're looking at bringing skills into routing. We're also going to be looking at surfacing skills here on the agent. So now you're going to be able to see not only how much is an agent working and what capacity they have, but have they got the right skills to be working on the items that are being routed to them. All again available in real time. And then further later next year, we're going to be looking at turning all of that insight into action, and then allowing an agent to be able to change an agent state and to be able to really then start kind of from one place, being able to work with their agents and meet them where they are. Next slide, please. We also, as well, with the full power of Explorer, we have the ability to customize your dashboard. So one of the things that we've been always cognizant of all the things that we're doing in this space is to allow the configurability for our customers. So here you can see we can configure whether you want to have one level of deep dive or 2 levels of deep dive, and be able to configure that as an editor within Explorer and make that then available to all your editors, all your viewers and your team leads in the organization. We're going to have more coming out here around alerting and threshold setting for our KPIs, and giving a lot more power into our editors to be able to give their organizations a more tailored experience. That's it I've got for the two. I think, Dave, we're ready to start looking at some of the questions.
Sure. And John, we had a question from Carrie about how we can see the screenshot in slide 11, which is the balancing availability and workloads. Is there, or Devin, will we be sharing the slides here? Okay, great. We'll move on. So we'll move on to the Q&A part now. I know, keep asking questions in the Q&A tab. We're answering those as quickly as we can, and we will continue to, we'll answer more of those, I'm sure. If we're not able to get to them today during the live event, we'll answer them as many as we can when we send out the event summary. But let's go to some of the questions that we got pre-submitted here. So the first question is for Colton. If we do not use messaging yet, can we use these features? Can we use the omnichannel routing and live agent statuses?
So you would need, at this point, you would need to have messaging enabled to be able to use these routing features. If you were a support-only customer and didn't have any chat, you could use these routing features. But if you do use chat and have a chat subscription, then you need to have messaging enabled, number one, and it needs to be 100% of your traffic, number two, to use these features.
Awesome. Thanks, Barry. Next question. Does advanced routing substitute the use of skills? Does it replace skills-based routing, or does it complement it?
I think it complements it. So I mentioned that we are working on adding skills as a sort of a third criteria. So currently it's capacity of the agent, the status of the agent are the two criteria we use to decide which agent should be routed a message or a ticket. Skills will be the third. So you would then be able to switch it on or off. So either the routing engine uses skills and looks for a skills match, as well as looking for the right capacity, the right status. So essentially it's kind of complementary. You can still use skills as you use skills today, which is to filter views, but you'd have the additional capability to use it with this routing engine as well.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Next question. Can you provide more clarification on the volume limits for routing email tickets? Does it include the tickets assigned to the agent that are not actively working in?
So it doesn't, what it keys in on is the ticket status. So if the ticket status is in open, so the ticket is open, then it counts towards your capacity. If the ticket status is pending or on hold or indeed solved, it doesn't count towards your capacity. So that's the key, essentially, from an email ticket perspective.
Fantastic. Awesome. Next question. Can messaging tickets be re-queued to push to an agent?
Yeah, they can. So, and this came up in sort of the Q&A as well. So you can do that manually. So an agent could, if the agent sets the assignee back to, say I've been assigned an email ticket or a message, and I want to reassign it to someone else, I can reassign it directly to someone else, or I can just reassign it to another group, and the routing engine then will step in, and for that group, it will look for an agent who is available, etc., and reassign it to them. So you can do that manually. You could do it using a trigger. So if a messaging ticket, for example, that was in a pending or on hold state, suddenly went to an open state because the end user started typing again, started the conversation again, then you could have a trigger pick that up and again set the assignee to no, so that it's assigned to someone else within the group or within a different group. The one thing we don't have right yet is being able to reassign messages or email tickets based on the agent's status. So if the agent goes offline, I want all that agent's email tickets reassigned automatically back to the group. We don't have that yet. It would have to be, the agent would have to do it manually, but that is something that we are working on.
Awesome, thanks. Before we get to the next question, just we want to slide in. We had a question about when will varied business hours be available for messaging on the professional plan? Is that something that's coming to professional? And are either of you able to answer that?
I'm not really able to answer that. It probably has to go to the messaging group to confirm.
Okay, great. Yeah, if you can go ahead and whoever asked that, I'm not sure who asked that, but if you can, you can ask that in the community as well, if we're not able to answer it here. But all right, next question then. Okay, now an inactive ticket is considered after 10 minutes. What settings can be applied so that these tickets take up space in the agent's set volume?
Yeah, so this is the idea of within messaging, whether the message is in the queue or has already been assigned to an agent, there is a timer, a 10-minute timer. And if there's no conversation between the end user and the agent within those 10 minutes, the ticket goes, or the message goes from active to inactive, and that has an effect. If the message is still in the queue, then it will be assigned. Currently today, it'll be assigned out to agents, but won't take up any capacity. So we are looking, based on feedback, to change that, or at least to have the option to change that. What things that we're looking at is I could have the option to treat active and inactive tickets the same, i.e., no matter how long it's been since the conversation has occurred, I want that message to take up capacity of an agent. And number two, we're looking at potentially configuring that 10-minute. So maybe you want to set it to 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So those two things are on the roadmap for us to look at.
Awesome. Thanks, Barry. Next question. Is there a way to route messaging requests to multiple assignees without creating a separate ticket group?
Not currently. There is a capability that was in chat called broadcast mode. So the idea behind broadcast mode is it would do just that. You would broadcast to every available agent within a group. We don't have that, but that again is on the roadmap to do so. So yeah. So what we have today and what I've demoed to you is very like the assign mode in chat, with one key difference, and that key difference is the ability to prioritize one message over another, which was not available previously.
Awesome, thank you. Next question. Are there any hurdles companies have had to overcome in order to implement these features successfully?
Probably the biggest hurdle is if you don't use messaging now and are moving to messaging, that's probably a much bigger hurdle than anything else, because the idea behind messaging is it's asynchronous, and that affects a lot of things. The great advantages, of course, is that it opens up the whole world of social media to you, social media messaging, etc. But there is some change management there. In terms of omnichannel writing itself, not that much really. Agents just don't need to go to views anymore. You can still, if you like, still have them go to views. It's no problem. But the agent will spend most of their time in their My Assigned Tickets view, because that'll be populated automatically by the omnichannel writing engine. In terms of the admin, just if you want to use that prioritization feature, then you probably just need to think about how what segments you want to prioritize, and that means adding some priority actions to your triggers. But apart from that, it's not a big leap.
Awesome, thank you. The next question is, can I hide unutilized channels from the live report?
Okay, I can answer that, and that's not the one I'm seeing, but I'll answer that question. So you can, once you're on so once you're on the enterprise plan, you have the ability to customize. So you saw there in the use case that I was showing earlier, where you can customize reports. So one of the things you're able to do is to be able to, you can clone the pre-made dashboard, or the pre-canned dashboard that we ship out of the box for live dashboards. And if there's a channel that you want to hide, you can actually customize it and take out the content that you don't want to show, and then republish it with your community or your agents or supervisors to be able to use and see what you want to show.
Awesome, thank you. I just got these questions out of order. The next question, the actual next question should be, how can I use live reporting to better assist my agents in their efficiency?
I'm delighted to be asking questions. I thought it was going to be all for Barry today. So thank you, Dave, for pumping in some questions. As we showed you in this kind of fake demo that we went through there, the main ability is really surfacing what capacity and workload that agents have right now. And so very quickly, in a live sense, you're able to get a sense of, right, okay, I've got agents that are too much over capacity, and I need to either bring in more agents, or we need to be able to reduce the capacity for certain agents, and you're able to even understand, how are those agents performing against some of their metrics. And in real time, you're able to jump in, look at the tickets, and be able to provide assistance with your agents. So very, very, very quickly, you're able to get a picture of how those agents are performing. We have a lot more things that are on our roadmap for next year that are going to give a lot more ability for supervisors to be able to take advantage of that insight. One of those that I took the examples was to be able to take action on a dashboard, to be able to maybe change an agent state. So maybe it's you want to bring on more agents that are temporarily in an away state or in research, and be able to move them in bulk to an online state and let the routing engine kick in and overcome a spike. So all of this is similar again to how you can be able to get more insights to be able to assist your agents.
All right, the next question is, will there be alerting for the live reports?
Yes, there will be alerting. We do have some alerting in there at the moment, because when we first came out to market with the live dashboards and our live metrics, we were all pre-COVID, still in big call centers, big TVs around our call centers. And we thought the first alerting mechanism that customers would want when we talk to large customers was to be able to change the color or have some sort of visual cue for those television screens, which shows when a threshold has been breached. So that's there now out of the box. But as COVID has hit and we're now moving to this more hybrid world, we're understanding that supervisors need something a little bit more than just a visual. We're now on the move, or we're on our laptops, and we're not necessarily staring at a live dashboard all day, every day, or these wall boards. And so one of the things that we have on our plan for next year is more this offline reporting. So to be able to, as an administrator, set up the thresholds for your organization on your KPIs. So I don't want my agents to fall below a certain threshold, or I don't want my queue to go above a certain threshold. And if these thresholds have been breached, we're going to be looking at notifying our supervisors, or whoever is set up as to be notified of this breach, which allows you then to quickly jump onto that live dashboard, see what's going on, and be able to jump to the heart of the problem and take action against it. We're looking at multiple channels as well. There's probably going to be email for our first one, Old Reliable. We're also looking at Slack integration and also having in-app notifications too.
Awesome.
So
Thanks,
not there
John.
yet, but definitely something we want to go forward with as we see it. It's another piece in the puzzle for this overall view for a supervisor.
We do still have some questions in the Q&A tab, and so we'll answer. We've got some time, so we'll answer some of those. Please upvote any questions that you'd like to see answered, and that's how we'll prioritize the questions that we want to that we'll have answered. So get ready. Now it's time for live Q&A. The first question that we want to address is, do agents need to click accept to take the ticket if it's an email ticket, if they're using omni-channel routing in the same way that you would have to do with the messaging channel?
No, they wouldn't. It's auto-assigned, so it just immediately gets assigned. No need to click the accept button.
Awesome, thank you. All right, I did see a question in the chat. Yeah, you can go ahead and stop sharing, Brett, for now. Well, we've got some coming soon events that we'll come back to, but all right. So there was a question in the regular chat about are all these new features coming out just for Agent Workspace? They're asking about, is the old interface deprecated at this point? Sorry, in terms of the non-agent workspace, like is the non-agent workspace ever going to see any new development at this point?
Not from an omnichannel routing perspective.
Yeah.
On the live side, we do and are surfacing chat, and we are allowing drilling on chat. However, you won't see omnichannel routing specific topics like capacity, skills, unified agent state, custom state, because none of that will be applying to chat. That will only be going forward with messaging and agent workspace.
Yeah, I think most of the kind of fancier new features are going to be agent workspace only, but there will be some that just naturally also apply to the older interface as well. All right, so some additional questions here. When will varied business? We already kind of addressed this a little bit, that we're not able to answer it right now, but when will varied business hours be available for messaging on the professional plan? I think the best thing to do there for you folks that are interested in it is to go ahead and go to our product feedback forums and lay out the use case that you have there. I did a quick search and I wasn't able to find a thread on that already, but it'll be helpful. It'll be helpful for our product team to know what the need is there beyond just asking if it's available. So let us know what you need from there, and you know, upvote it and comment on it as usual there. And we thank you for that. We've got a question with a vote here. Oh, here we go. Would omnichannel routing still work like focused mode, where if an agent's on a phone call, they'll not be assigned a messaging conversation?
Yeah, so currently today that focus mode is available outside omnichannel routing for customers who have talk and live chat. It's not available for those customers who have talk and messaging. It is on our roadmap, but it isn't there today. So it is something that we will be looking at releasing next year.
Oh gosh. All right, I'm going to read this one. Where talk will not be able to have backup groups, will we be able to set priorities for individual agents per queue? Or are there any suggestions on how to replace the ability to route a call to backup groups, or plans at least, or plans for allowing that at least?
Yeah, that's probably one I would need the talk product manager on the call to answer accurately.
Okay.
So,
okay, fair enough. And here's a question. Are we able to have custom agent statuses without having tickets routed to agents? I want custom statuses, but not quite ready for the agents to be assigned tickets without going to views. We like the notification for messaging conversations. Will that still exist?
Yeah, so you could set up custom statuses and have the status for the agent who picks that, say, a status of in training, and just set them as offline for email, for messaging and calls, and they won't be routed anything when they're in that status, if that is what is required.
All right. How about this question? How would this work for emails when they are sent after hours? Would the team coming in the AM just be sent new emails up to their maximum number?
Yeah, exactly. They would remain in queue, and then they would be assigned out based on priority to the agents that come online up to their maximum the next morning.